today, February 13th, day before Chocolate Day. I wish I cared more about chocolate. I used to get so excited for Valentine's Day because I gave myself a lot of credit for being able to go afterwards and get all the half-price candy. I just don't care anymore. I don't know if it's because I legalized food. In other words, there's no food off limits and I had enough of everything I ever craved. Or I have so many other areas of sweetness in my life, I don't crave the sweets. I don't even know. I'm not that excited. I'm excited that I'm going to a private comedy show tomorrow night with friends. And it's one of the last things I'll be doing before I really buckle down. I have to give up some things in order to make time for the course I'm taking. I have to shave some time off of my schedule to make time to study and to produce and follow the program step by step. I would prefer not to stop making my daily videos. I might make them shorter or more simple, but I'm not sure how much more simple they can get. It's not like I edit them. Someday I will have a team and they will edit me. In the mornings, I get up, I take care of my cats. It's a lot because, 2 litter pans, an outside cat, poop scooped, changing 2 boxes, feeding 6 cats and outside, washing dishes if I didn't do them the night before, and listening and studying. My spiritual practice. I'm not giving that up, but I might have to put a time limit on it. And maybe rush through the taking care of the cats rather than do it leisurely, in the leisurely coffee, in the leisurely putting my feet up and taking breaks between feeding and cleaning and vacuuming. What else can I shave time off of? It was suggested within the course that we have a meal delivery service. I mean, this is a young single person who's making these recommendations, and I understand, for families that might not be plausible. But he made a point. So you spend hours shopping, putting the stuff away, preparing food, washing dishes. I'm like, oh yeah, meal plan service. Something to consider. It's the grocery store's been tough lately. Going in for a few things and you spend over $100. It's interesting times we live in. I do give myself permission to use the Fluff and Fold laundry service. That's hours and hours of time I save. And it's not terribly expensive. At least the ones over here by me. What else is there? Well, at night, I like to unwind. I like to play my online games. I like to watch TV. How much of that has to be sacrificed? See, I believe that you have to give something up in order to get something. We'll see what makes the cut and what doesn't. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. Today, I printed out something very nice that I saw on Instagram. It's from an Al-Anon profile, 12-Step Recovery Rocks, all one word, no spaces, for February 13th. I was bitter about my parents until I realized how bitter they were about their parents. I'm not sure my parents were even self-aware enough to be bitter. Whether they felt angry or resentful toward their parents and their childhood and how things were done. Or they just felt sorry for themselves, or they just passed on the understated abuse. I wasn't beaten till I was black and blue. I was never thrown in a closet and starved. I read horrible things about child abuse. But it was definitely death by 1,000 cuts. Cutting down my self-esteem, even if it was just as simple as being annoyed because I wanted attention or time. Yeah, I'm bitter toward my parents. I lost my father. Well, he was 90. I lost him tragically. Well, it's always sad, but there's no hope for reconciliation there, except to forgive him. In my heart, he did the best he could. He was loved by everyone. Everyone loved my father. I loved my father. But he didn't have a lot of empathy. I don't know. I guess he was confused by how to raise me. And it's not like my mother really allowed him to have his hand in it. A lot of feelings regarding my childhood. Sometimes we adult children get wrapped up in our own family of origin and forget that everyone has a family of origin. Even our parents, especially our parents, as a matter of fact. Well, yeah, they didn't just walk out of the womb being as dysfunctional as they were, at least as parents. They were created by their childhoods, and both my parents came from a large family. There were a lot of kids to feed, not a lot of space to put them, sharing beds. I mean, this is just how it was back during the 1930s and 40s. For people in that socioeconomic situation. Very sad and discouraged on my dad's side. A lot of addiction and a lot of personality disorders on my mom's side. A lot of hurt children. But those of us who are self-aware, hopefully we're self-aware, we have to break this generational curse. How do we do it? Well, we have to have compassion for. I don't like the word forgiveness unless you really understand what that means, to love people who have hurt you. I would say have compassion for. Understand that they went through very painful childhoods and did not have the language. They did not have the therapy. They did not have the self-help books to make sense of any of it. We're the generation that has to break the generational curse. We have to do this. I continue. It can be healing to reflect on our parents' early lives, what models were presented to them, and how they were expected to respond. Unlike us, they may not have had self-help books. See, agreed with me. Groups or meetings, sponsors, or a program. If we hated what we got from our parents, chances are that they too hated what they got from their parents. I remember my father telling this story. He quit his job delivering meat for the local butcher, who was a friend of my grandfather, his father, because he wanted to play football. And my grandfather beat my father with a leather strap. And he talked about that all his life, my father, how that hurt him. He wanted to play football, and his father discouraged him. How dare you, when you should be working? Now, things were tough. I get it. But I'm not sure what little money my father was making would have made or broken the situation at home. My father was not encouraged. My father had a nice singing voice. My father was handsome. What if he had been encouraged? I have an aunt, stunningly beautiful, his baby sister. Tall, gorgeous, wanted to be an airline. I say stewardess because that's what it was called back when she had the dream. Flight attendant. is what we call them now. But back then it was stewardess, and you had to have a certain level of attractiveness that was measured by your weight and your height and how you looked in the uniform. No, my grandmother wouldn't let her. Same with modeling. She could have been a model. She was tall and gorgeous. Wasn't allowed. They were not encouraged to follow their dreams. Now, I wasn't discouraged when I said I want to be a philosopher, and I went off to study philosophy and then religion and women and gender studies. It was just women's studies back then. But my father would always ask me, well, I mean, with all this school, you're going to be making a lot of money, right? You mean spending a lot of money? You mean getting into a ton of debt? Oh, God. He never understood. And he was disappointed that I never got on my feet financially. And he developed dementia and died before I could make a financial success of myself. I would really like to do that before my mother goes. She's 99. I'd like at least one parent to see me be financially, more than financially stable, financially independent, well off enough that I can take care of her without worrying. But in order to do that, I need to carve out some time to do this course about developing a YouTube channel. I have not been able to do anything because of the way I've been scheduled for the past few days. Today I taught 2 long classes. I had to run and take care of my mother had an abrasion. I had to get special wound care stuff and a lot of running, errand running, school responsibilities, household responsibilities. I didn't get a chance to do any of the lessons for that course, and I want to be able to do that every day. Why? I believe that it will teach me, and I will get that financial freedom that I've been wanting since I started selling pots and pans and dishes door to door at age 23. Yes, it was Camelot Temptone cookware, that waterless cookware. P.S. When I say it was Lifetime cookware, yeah, it's still there. It still works beautifully, by the way. Never dented. Hardly stained on the bottom. Good stuff. Queen Anne is another brand. Carico International was another brand. I was with both. And their stuff lasted. But I didn't want to build a pots and pans and dishes empire. Multi-level marketing is tough. You really... It's not that I didn't want my goals. It's that I didn't want to spend my time doing that. I was a pain in the neck to people who knew me, bothering them and dropping off, introductory materials and then trying to book a plan and a sit down and selling them stuff. I hated it. Loved the motivational system, though. So, yeah, compassion for people who abused us. It's only the hardest thing in the world. Where was their compassion for me? They were bad at showing it. They really were just bad at showing it. My mother's trying to make up for lost time. Every time I drop off groceries, oh, you did such a good job of picking out the grocery. Oh, you did a very good job of picking up all my wound care stuff. Like, really? 58 years later? You have to laugh or you cry. It's like, all right, Ma, all right. I have compassion for her. How do you forgive? It's like forgiving a 2-year-old who broke a priceless family vase or something. They don't know what they did. You think they premeditated breaking something? I know, we like to think, well, it's different. They choose to behave in this way. Do they really have the options we think they have? Are they really self-aware enough to say, I probably shouldn't do this because, well, it might hurt her feelings? They They don't have that kind of reflection and empathy. Zuko. They don't. They never develop the skills, and this late in life you think they're going to suddenly learn? Yeah, she could say the words, "Oh, I did such a good job." But I really needed to hear that when I was so much younger. Well, I didn't. But I turned out to be this. I turned out to be who I am. And I'm working hard at being better. I try to be obedient to what I believe God wants from me. And I pray before every class that I give my students something of value. Poor kids, they have to sit there for so long because they're long classes, some of them. But they're good. They're good. All my parents knew was, struggling a bit to get by. I mean, we had a house, we had a yard. We always had 2 cars in the driveway. We were never hungry. Just because I had an eating disorder doesn't mean there wasn't food in the house. There was. They did what they could with what they had. And yeah, we're super angry about how we were treated. I get it. But we have to find a way to experience and express that anger. And not at them. I've done it more than a few times. Screamed bloody murder at her. Screamed! It didn't help. It didn't make me feel any better. She didn't understand a word I was trying to say because she doesn't believe she did any of the things I accuse her of doing. Like hitting me. Or coming up with these bizarre punishments. God. She doesn't remember it, and she doesn't think she's capable of it. So screaming at her will get me nothing. She'll cry and say she's sorry, but she's not, because she says, "I'm sorry for whatever you think I did." Well, how's that an apology? The closest she came was when I was crying about how you made me walk on tiptoes because you were working downstairs and I was upstairs. And you said I sounded like a herd of elephants. She remembered that. She apologized and said that she was so sorry she had such tension, stress. They called it tension back then. Anxiety was called tension. And they threw Valium at these poor women. She didn't take them. I did. I sneaked into her room and took her Valium. Didn't help. Medicating anxiety and rage, it gives you temporary relief, but what's even the point of that? I tried CBD oil. It's legal here in New Jersey. It's probably legal everywhere, right? And I'm like, I don't know. What is it then? The weed without the high? I don't understand. What am I taking? Well, it was really nice. It was really nice, and it reminded me of Valium. I was floating on air. Not a care in the world. I told you I was at Costco on a Sunday. A war zone. Like really bad. Floaty, could care less. Sure, go on ahead. Oh, no problem. The problem with that is that we never learn the skills of being calm, accepting our feelings, learning to breathe, quieting that crinkly part within ourselves that gets so agitated when the parking lot doesn't flow the way it should. They really should have people directing traffic there. But I was laughing like, they really need someone directing traffic. Didn't care. Floaty. It wasn't like a perceptual, it wasn't like having a drink or anything where it compromises your driving. It was not like that at all. And I'm like, well, I should get more. And then I'm thinking, then I'll never really learn and fine-tune the skill of de-stressing in the moment, of that mindfulness that can bring us peace. So tonight I had to drop off something at my mother's. And I was tired and hungry and impatient and full of rage. I took deep breaths and I prayed, and I got in and out of there rather quickly. And that's the best I could do. She was fine. I didn't abandon her. And she has her aides that come 4 times a day. So she's taken care of. But I got in and out of there rather quickly because I was in a rage state. And I kept my composure. I didn't lose my temper. I didn't scold her, yell at her, slam doors. I went in, dropped off the thing, nodded and smiled a little bit, got the information I needed, and I got out of there quickly and peacefully. So, yeah, I was impressed with the CBD, but I can't rely on it. Then what happens when I don't have it? I just fly off the handle. Well, wasn't that from Wicked? Flying off the handle. But I think as a once in a while, it's helpful. But as an everyday thing, I'm going to caution myself. So, any last words from 12-Step Recovery Rocks? Let's see. Today, I will think objectively about life cycles. One day, our own children, I don't have any, may be working on their family of origin. That's something to think about, isn't it? How much will we hope for their understanding with how we treated them? Well, we have to break the vicious cycle. We have to. If not for children, I don't have children, but I have students, I have friends. For the sake of humanity, we have to have compassion for ourselves. It was not our fault. I don't want to say that, well, we should have compassion for them because they didn't know better, and then shut down your need to be heard and your need for sympathy and compassion and understanding yourself. I don't want that. No, have great compassion. You can feel a little sorry for yourself as you heal. Like, oh, you poor baby, what you went through. It's okay to have some sympathy. It's okay. A little self-pity. It's okay in the beginning. It's okay. Feeling sorry for yourself. Sometimes you have to make up for lost time, what we suffered through with these people. We were just children. They were so cruel. They didn't mean it, probably. Most likely they didn't mean it. Most likely they're not self-aware. So yeah, we deserve some. Poor baby. You went through so much. And then have compassion for the people who hurt us. You might need to have that compassion at a distance. A lot of people recommend low contact or no contact with the people who abuse them. That might be the appropriate response. It's not for me. That's not my way. And it's not like I'm self-flagellating. I just feel it would be unkind to abandon her. She emotionally abandoned me. But it's not right to just say, well, then I'm going to give it right back to you. That's a cycle of abuse within itself. It doesn't have to be from generation to generation. It's just wishing that back on the person who hurt you. Think about the revenge we wish on people. Well, karma's a bitch. Karma's going to get you. You hurt me. Let's see how your future turns out. It's human to be like that. I get it. But it's a cycle. It's keeping the abuse cycling. And don't lie down like a doormat for people who are going to continually hurt you. Have compassion for yourself and the situation. And sometimes you're going to need to head for the exit door. Know when to hold them and know when to fold them. That's right, Star-Lord. He just made an adorable noise. So there you go. You have my reading from, I don't know if that's the One Day at a Time. I don't know which book she's highlighting from. It's a very nice account. And my situation with needing to create time to make my dreams come true. This is important to me. Now, when I was doing Amway and other multi-level marketing programs, I would often say, well, I just don't have time, because deep down I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to draw circles. I didn't want to cold call. I didn't want to call relatives and friends and bother them to buy pots and pans and dishes, or look at me draw circles, or subscribe to Amway's environmentally friendly laundry stuff. I told you how great that stuff was. Still is. It's available. You just got to go online and buy it. In the Amazon age, what are we doing with multi-level marketing anymore? Well, some of the models are still good. Young Living is still an excellent model and an excellent product. But I don't want to be demonstrating oils either. I use them every day. I should be a testament to how wonderful they are. And they are. I'm not building a Young Living group. I just don't want to. It's not what I want to do with my time. I want to teach and write my books and make my videos. And be financially independent. Pardon me. I made a flourless, a flourless keto quiche. Excellent. Cauliflower, eggs, cheese, cottage cheese. It's a miracle. It was so good. So good. And I just had some, so forgive my burping. And I don't remember. What was I saying? There's no student here to tell me what I was saying. Oh, yes. Multi-level marketing. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to do this YouTube thing. I always have wanted to do it. I want to free up my time and increase my finances so that I can do this creatively. There's people who have teams. Like, they have teams. They have people who help them and film and edit. I would like to do that. I would like to be the talent. And I write the scripts, I deliver, and then somebody else makes the end screens and the closed captions and all that. And I'm putting that out there. Putting it out there. And I'll do what I have to make my dreams come true. So, I hope you do the same. I hope you can have compassion for the people in your life who are difficult. I hope you can get away from as many of them as possible, if it's possible. You know, it's easy to say, well, just get away from that boss. But it's not simple when it's a salary and you have a mortgage and children and people depend on you. It's not as easy as just get up and walk away. It might be, but it may not be. So I understand. I have compassion for your situation. But I hope you can get away from people like that if you can. Sometimes it's worth the pay cut to not have that stress in your life. Or if it's a family member, find a way to go lower contact. Have people come and fill in your duties for you. Maybe do brief phone calls often. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I want to see you happy and healthy and free. And if we have more people out there realizing their dreams, what a peaceful, happy place the world will be. So it's February 13th, 2023. So far, our military has shot down, 3 or 4 objects out of the sky? One was the balloon. It was the spy balloon. And now there's 2 or 3 others, and, well, we don't know what they are. For the record, I don't believe they're aliens. What a bunch of nonsense. We've been building UFOs since since World War II. Anti-gravity. Now, I don't know who's flexing by putting the little spaceship balloony things up in the air over the United States of America. But that's what's happening now. So as time goes on and you look back at this, you'll be like, oh yeah, that was the day with the... God help us. And I mean that. God help us as a nation and as a planet. In the meantime, let's be happy individuals so we can contribute to the overall peace, love, and happiness of the world. Please like, please subscribe, please share this video with people. Help me get the word out about the possibility of happiness, compassion, peace, and healing. Leave me a comment, even if it's just a heart. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video because I said I would. Be well.